Welcome to a noble society of young urban entrepreneurs sharing knowledge and building wealth. Welcome to the League of Hustlers.
The hustle is in your bones. It runs through your veins. It's that ambition to do more, become more. You can feel it. You know you have what it takes. You know you can build a life you've been dreaming of. It's time you live up to your potential. Welcome to the League of Hustlers.
Welcome back. Another episode of the League of Hustlers. Very special episode for you guys. I'm your co-host, CD Barnes.
And I'm HT.
And we are the League of Hustlers. Today we have Rick Medalle with us today. All right, guys. A real special treat, man. I'm talking about we went and found an expert in a couple different areas that you could possibly benefit from in your business, in your finance, and so on. All right?
Yeah.
Rick.
Appreciate that.
Welcome to the show. Glad to have you. Just for the listeners, man, just give us like a quick background, what it is you do, who you are, about your businesses, and just let us know what's going on with you.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate that intro there. And again, my name is Rick Medalle. I'm out here in California, Northern California. And, a little bit of background about myself. I kind of got my start in the business realm, so to speak, in really the financial services industry. I had no idea I was going to go there. For me growing up, money that came in was money that was going out. I was spending it just as fast as I was making it. So I was always trying to find ways that I could make it faster so I could spend it faster. Right. That's just kind of how I grew up. And then I was going to college. And at the time, one of my buddies introduced me. He said, "Man, Rick, I know you're always trying to look for the next best thing. I may have a company for you." And it was in the financial services industry. And I was like, man, I never saw myself in the financial services industry. Like, if they knew how much debt I was in at the time, then they probably wouldn't want to touch me with the 10-foot pole. So, one thing led to another. I got introduced to the company, and I kind of started off as basically an appointment setter for the advisors. And then I grew within the company. One thing led to another. I ended up leaving college because I always thought that college was there to look for an opportunity. Right? People go to school so they can get an opportunity. When I found this opportunity, I'm like, man, what am I going to school for if I found it? You know what I mean? So from there, I got into the financial industry, and everything there, it carried over to many aspects of my life. One thing major was just learning how to make money work for me. I was always looking for ways to make money, but money was never working for me. And I found out if you can make money work for you, guess what? It's going to be your best employee. Right? Because it works 365 days a year. It never calls in sick. It never talks back, so that's the best employee that can be for you. So when I found that out, I'm like, man, let's run with it. So, kind of grew to a senior marketing director position within that company. And that allowed me to open different outlets and different offices. So I moved out from the Bay Area up to Sacramento, opened an office out here, and, really running some marketing and utilizing digital marketing to help expand the business, right? Because the traditional financial industry, guess what? It doesn't look like me and you, right? It's typically a less colored industry, and typically middle-aged men. So I was kind of breaking that mold, and they didn't have the same know-how when it came to digital marketing. So I kind of put my footprint there and decided to expand into other areas like retail, like most brick and mortar businesses are going through right now because they can't even have their brick and mortar business open, right? So digital marketing, Facebook, Instagram, different platforms are all very important to be utilizing for your business. And that's kind of what led me to where I am right now with the Capitals Connect, as well as International Loops. We're basically digital marketing organizations helping people build their brands online to reach more people and make their product more accessible to everyday consumers.
So tell us about Capitals Connect. That's based in I'll let you tell us about that. Tell us a little more, because I saw some clips with like trying out different foods, and is this like an influencer play?
So basically, it started out here in Sacramento, California. So we are the capital of California here in Northern California, and so that's how I kind of got the name, the Capitals Connect. And one of the things over really the last few months, it kind of spun into me working with local restaurants really a lot, just because we have a different division within the agency called the Capital Eats Local. And, when everything shut down, I saw that most restaurants, they don't go into it with a marketing background. They're like, man, they go into it because they love food. And I don't know about you guys, but I love food too. So I'm like, man, I love to eat. So I want to have these restaurants open. And basically I put together a free platform with Facebook and Facebook groups, right? So I created a Facebook group with them, and there's over 11,000 people in that group now, and close to 200 restaurants using that platform to get their message out to as many consumers as possible. And that was just one division of the agency, really, that I built within the last month, or not month, but the last couple months when the quarantine started. So I think I started in April on that part. But yeah, it really was focusing on local restaurants, local businesses, and expanding from there. Once I partnered with International Loops to take my brand and that business from just being a local business to now really reaching out nationwide.
That's awesome, man. So, I mean, just off of this conversation, like I immediately have like a million questions, man. Like back in a little closer to the beginning when you kind of started, you were talking about making your money work for you. So like what would you give as like advice to someone who may have been, let's say you're talking to yourself before you even got into that space? What advice would you give the old Rick, in terms of how to actually get into that place where you're actually using your money to work for you? What advice would you give yourself?
Absolutely. Well, the first and foremost is you got to think about your mindset, right? A lot of people look at money and they look at how to utilize money not as a way to grow. They look at it as a means of getting by, right? And one thing that I learned is I hated the word budget growing up. So I'm like, man, I don't want to, I want to use the money that I have. But what I realized is a budget is not my money telling me what to do. I started to flip my mindset and saying, okay, a budget is me telling my money what to do, right? Because, instead of being,
I
you
like
get at the
that. I
end of the
like that.
month, right? You get to the end of the month and you didn't budget. Now your money's telling you what you need to do because you're like, oh, I don't have enough money to take me through the end of the month. So what
Right.
do I do now? I ended up, getting credit cards, a ton of credit card debt. You get loans, whatever you can to get some extra money to extend it through the end of the month, right? But with that little
Mhm.
mindset shift of saying, okay, well, instead of instead of telling or my money telling me what to do with this budget, I'm telling my money what to do. I put my money here because this is what it's going to do for me. It's going to buy me food. I put my money here
Right.
because this is going to provide for me to live, right? I put my money here because I'm telling my money this is, going to pay for my gas, right? So once I had that little mindset shift to say that my money is now working for me, and I'm telling it what to do, then that's just one simple mindset shift that you got to get used to because people hate budgets, right?
I'm the same way. Same way.
Absolutely.
That word growing up, I guess it kind of formed a negative connotation, like budget. You're like, oh, I don't want to have a
Yep.
budget, like you said. But
Right.
I think
Basically.
the book, The Richest Man in Babylon, it talks about that,
Yep.
like thinking about your coins or your dollars as little soldiers or little
Right.
workers, right? And you send them out
Mhm.
to work and their main job is to go and find other workers, right? And so you
Absolutely.
make them go out. That I like the way you put that little mindset shift. Instead of thinking of a budget as confining, you use it as a tool to say, look, you go out here and you gain more workers, or you go out here and produce more assets. So
Absolutely.
that's major. League of Hustlers. I hope y'all are listening.
Mhm.
That's a major key
Yeah.
right there. Simple
Major key, man.
mindset shift. A simple mindset shift. Simple mindset shift.
Perspective.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. That's
Absolutely.
major. That's major. So tell us a little more about so you talked about Capitals Connect. Tell us a little more about International Loops, because I see that profile is popping, man. I see you guys are turning up in that area.
Yeah. So International Loops, I really got connected with them, and again, what they've been able to do in the industry since about 2015 has revolutionized how marketing is being done. Now, we've all heard of the word influencer marketing, right? And most people, they're like, "Ah, man, well, I don't really know how that works." Right? Basically, what that means is I'm going to get a celebrity who has a huge following. They're going to promote my brand, and from them promoting my brand, that's going to drive traffic to my page. And in return, it's going to bump up my followers. It's going to bump up my sales, and it's going to bump up my credibility. Why? Is because this follower, this influencer, this celebrity, whoever it may be, they're basically backing your business. Now, I don't know if you guys saw this, but I saw somewhere it said Kylie Jenner charges $500,000 for one single post on her page. So she is making bread on one post. That's $500,000,
Crazy.
right?
It's
And that's
Crazy.
just one simple post. So most businesses, understand that most businesses will never have access to that type of money to, put into a campaign. What we at International Loops are doing is providing smaller businesses, more local businesses who are still growing, an option to get an ad spot from one of these influencer campaigns. It's called, exclusive advertising. And basically, instead of having one brand, we're going to have multiple brands on a campaign. And, from there, they're going to post some, giveaway or a post. And then what that's going to do is going to drive traffic to your page, in turn, getting you more exposure for your business. And then also driving up traffic, building credibility. And these are engaged followers too, because, they have to go through a few steps to make sure that they're following your page. And there's certain requirements in order for you to really join in on these campaigns. So one thing on that I like to say is, and this is not just like a marketing strategy, but it's a saying that I like using in all aspects of my life. Think about, instead of thinking about how, think about the who, right? So a lot of times we get caught up in like, man, how do I do this? I don't know how to reach these, I don't know how to do this digital marketing. I don't know how to do this sales. I don't know how to do something, right? Well, instead of thinking about how to do it, think about who knows how to do it, right? Because if you go, who knows how to do it, now you can go reach out to that person and they can either teach you how to do it, or you guys can partner up now. And then now they can do that part of your business while you focus on what's good for what you're doing, right? So always think about how, think about who, not how. Same thing with the influencer marketing. If I want to build a business, I want to build a brand, and we know the biggest thing that we need to build a brand is people's attention, right? And, the average attention span of a human is 7 seconds long, but the average attention span of a goldfish is 8 seconds long. So now we as humans have a shorter attention span as goldfish. So that tells you right there, it's harder and harder to get somebody's attention. So how do I get their attention? I go to the people who they're paying attention to, right? Again, focus on the who, not the how. Stop thinking about how do I get their attention and start thinking about who has their attention. Who can I partner with so I can now grab that attention and leverage their credibility, their influence to bring that attention to my business, right? And, that little saying that made me want to partner with International Loops because they're the number one in the industry in regards to these exclusive advertising and influencer marketing campaigns.
Okay, cool. Yeah, man,
Yeah.
that's pretty dope, man. Yeah, I was in another course. It was like one of these challenges with Russell Brunson, and he kind of mentioned that concept to say, you know, and someone else said it too. Another way that they said you need to become an expert at hiring experts.
Yep.
Learning out or learning how to find who can do what you need to do, right? Because for you to do it, you have to go in, you have to learn it, you have to get your stripes in, you have to, go through all of this stuff, right? And through the learning curve. But if you just go to an expert that already knows how to do it, it can get you there that much quicker, but you gotta pay. So it's
Right.
it's one of those things where you just kind of have to find that balance. But yeah,
Right.
man, that's a really good point, man. You're dropping jewels, man. Real quick, if you're loving what you're hearing, okay, and I know I am, make sure you hit the notification bell. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you share this. All right. So jumping right back into it. CD, what else do you have? What's on your mind? I see your brains over there.
Yeah, so the
Very
digital marketing component, man, it's like, so there's tons of platforms now, and it's difficult for people to, you see some people like, hey, focus on one platform, and then some people are like, no, you need to like jump into all of them. What is your take on that? What's the most important platform? Where would you begin? And do you actually feel like you need to be across all platforms? Like, what?
Well, first and foremost, if somebody's using it to build a brand, the question is, well, where is your customer line? Where is your ideal customer going to be? And then two, what are you most comfortable with? Right? Because a lot of people say, yes, you have to be on all platforms. Well, yeah, eventually you do, but not until you focus in and learn how to master one. Why? Because you master one, it'll eventually lead to driving traffic to your other platforms. Right. So if you know Instagram and you've been on Instagram, then uh, ideally, most likely, and this is what I tell people if they're looking to build a business or a brand, like focus on a brand that you are comfortable and know, right? So for me, when I was in the financial industry, I was going to networking events. I was going to all these different events, shaking hands, kissing babies. You got to get out there and meet people, right? But that was the old way, right? So for me, my biggest problem was, okay, how can I get to more people and access more people and reach out to them without having to spend my time at all these events where nothing really happens at these events. So I went to Instagram because that's what I knew the most. Right. And then I started, messaging people. I started connecting with people. I started, sending out messages, started commenting, started engaging. Most people think about social media, but they're not actually social on there. Right. It's like, it's kind of funny how people are like, man, how'd you meet these people? Well, I met them on the internet. Before that used to be weird. Right. But now with social platforms, social networks, guess what? It's the way you get to meet people all across the world now. Right. I would have never met you guys if I was just trying to go out to local meetups, local networking events. If we never crossed paths on Instagram. So really what I tell people is really find what you know best. How can you fix a problem? And ideally, you're probably going to be your best customer in your business. Right. So if you're your best customer, you know where you hang out. Right. So I know I hung out on Instagram. Right. I know I hung out on Facebook here and there. I know I hung up on LinkedIn here and there. But if you're looking to build your business, really focus on that platform that you know best. And if your ideal market, say, you have a clothing brand, your clothing brand is going to be good on Instagram because that's where you are. Right. You really want to find people who are going to be best like you. So look for the platform that you're going to be able to find people best like you and then grow from there, right? So again, grow that one platform first, eventually cross over into different areas. But again, like most things in life, if you try to chase more than one thing, you'll never put 100% effort into that one area where you actually succeed, and you'll end up, falling short in all areas.
Right, right. Yeah, that's a really good point. So what's something that and this is kind of a more relaxed question, not formatted or anything, but what's something that you've accomplished on your entrepreneurial journey that shocked you, right? That you didn't even know that or a height that you didn't even know that you could reach, or what's something that was like, oh man, like this is what it's like up here, like tell us about
Yeah. I think that first time, that first event that really stuck out to me in that regards was, again, me, being in the financial services industry. And by the time I was 23 years old, I was a senior marketing director within the industry. And at that point in my life, like, I'm from Vallejo, California, and, most people, they never make it out of Vallejo. So for me to, be able to get out and to be able to do something bigger than myself, be one of the youngest senior marketing directors in the industry nationwide and through Canada as well. I was one of the youngest amongst, hundreds of thousands of agents to reach that position. And that first month, being a senior marketing director, I crossed over $10,000 that month, which was the first time I ever made that much money in a month. And I'm
Wow.
like, man, like, you know what I mean? Like my family barely makes this type of money,
Right.
right? So for me to get that at 23 years old, and then them put me on a stage in front of 1,000 people, to
Wow.
basically speak and talk, and kind of share my story on how I got to where I was and kind of the strategies I used to get to where I am.
Uh-huh.
Like that opened up a whole new door for me. It kind of lit that light bulb, because for me personally, I was growing up, I was that introverted kid. If you're not going to talk to me, I probably was never going to talk to you, right?
Same. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
those days when I had to do group presentations in front of the class, I probably wasn't going to show up to school that day, right?
Right. Right.
It's
Right.
because that's just the natural introvert. But to put me in front of 1,000 people, that kind of put me on that spot. And I'm like, man, this is insane. And then from that day forward, I realized that, the knowledge I have and the voice I have can, even if it's one person, me sharing my message, if I could affect one person that day, that's one more person that gained something new that they can possibly change their life with. So I never take my voice for advantage, and you just never know who's going to hear your message that day. So one thing I like to say is, if you have a social media following, it doesn't matter if you have 10 people or 100,000 people. If you have 10 people and they're showing you love
Mm.
and you're spreading that message, like, that's 10 people, right? If
Right.
you think
Yeah.
about it, if somebody died, if there was a car accident and 10 people died, we'd be like, man, it's a tragedy. Can you believe 10 people died today?
Right.
Right? But by you sharing your message to those 10 people, that's 10 people who can possibly change their life just because you shared your message with them. So never
Wow.
take it, no, never take for granted that whether it's 10 people, 5 or 25 or,
Yeah.
25,000, right?
Yeah, nah, man. That's I never really thought of it like that. But I know with us, with the League of Hustlers, we've always I guess had a bigger mission, right? And I guess we've kind of taken that approach. It's like, I really don't care how many people sees this, but I want to leave something. The one set of people that I do want to hear it and that I do want to see it were my descendants, right? My kids, my kids, and so forth. And so as long as we can capture it for that, like, I'm good. But like you
Yeah.
said, even if you have a small following, right? Provide them value, and that's what we're doing. Like, we're dedicated to whoever's paying attention, sharing knowledge and building wealth. We're having folks like Rick Medalle on that's dropping jewels left and right. So, we just want to share that, okay, to help, like you said, as a community, put us in places that we've never been, and
Yep.
and whatnot. So with what advice would you give, right, to entrepreneurs? Like you said, maybe their following isn't so big. Maybe they're having a hard time connecting with their folks. What advice would you give as an expert to help them gain more customers or solidify their customer base?
One thing I would say, and I try to apply this as many places as possible, but to complement versus compete,
Mm,
right? And a lot of times we look at other people who may have a podcast and they're like, all right, I gotta figure out how to make mine better, and instead of competing, how about we complement each other? Kind of like how we're working right now,
right.
we're complementing each other, and we're helping each other grow. We're helping each other reach each other's audience, right? So in a day of social media, that's one thing I loved about the name that I created for my business is the capitals connect. I want to connect people, right? I want to be that connect. I want to connect them to the right ideas. I want to connect them to the right people. I want to connect them to the right audience, and I want to connect them to, where they want to go in life, right? So the only way for me to do that is to put my ego down. Instead of competing with others, let's learn how we can collaborate. Let's learn how we could complement, right?
Right.
So if your business may not be getting to where you want to go right now, again, it kind of comes back to, instead of the how, the who, right? Who
Mm.
can I work with? If we both have small brands right now, say you have clothing brands and you're like, man, how can I get to more people? Well, guess what? You guys both have a clothing brand. How about you go out there and say, hey, I'm about to complement each other, and we're going to post a little pop-up event, right? You may not have the money to do the event yourself, but if you go together and say, hey, we have two brands now and we have two sets of following, if we get all these people here, guess what? We're going to double the amount of people we can reach,
Mm.
just by complementing each other instead of saying we have to compete with each other. So,
Wow.
in the day and age where so many people are out there to compete, I mean, competition does drive performance in some ways, but learn how to compete with yourself versus competing with others, and then complement others and connecting with them instead of competing with them.
Wow. That's really good, man. That's uh that's really good. Cause I get that a lot, right? People will email us all the time, like, yeah, I'm thinking about starting this, but I don't know how to, or I have this going on and I'm looking to grow it more, but we're running into this roadblock. And this is something that we share a lot too. Like, I'm not in the business of competing. I'm in the
Right.
business of creating, right? I'd rather create
Love
than
that.
compete,
Hmm.
so it's, all of this back and forth about who has the, highest numbers or who has this or who has that. It's like, at the end of the day is, you know, I, I feel like everyone has their allotment, right? So
Right.
just be a good steward over what's allotted to you. You know what I mean? And whatnot. So yeah, man, we appreciate that. That's You've been dropping a lot of gems quick too. And over here it's in the evening time, but over there I'm sure you're kind of halfway in your day. So excuse me, I'm fumbling over some of my words, but
You're
it's all
good.
good, man. So every episode, Rick, every episode, we like to challenge the League of Hustlers with an actionable challenge, right? That's going to help move them closer and closer to their goals. Okay. So, what challenge would you propose to the League of Hustlers? Give them something that's going to stretch them, but not too much, but something that they can gain momentum off of.
One thing I would say is I love how you challenge people, by the way, because a challenge is not a bad thing; it's a good thing. And I believe every one thing I used to do is I used to host a lot of conference calls, right? And first thing was always to hype people up, share all the good news, all the great things,
Okay.
everything going on, right, to get them going. Secondly, I'd love to give value, kind of what we've been doing here. What are the things that you can learn from today? But then last but not least is obviously, like you said, challenge, right? Because if we're not taking the action steps, if we're not challenging our people to move, to get better,
Yeah.
we're giving them knowledge that they're going to forget tomorrow, and then they're never going to take action on it, right? So
Yep.
for me, one thing that I want to challenge the League of Hustlers, I want you guys to challenge yourself and think about 5 different people or businesses who are complementary of yours, right? And let's kind of give an example of this. If you're in real estate, think about 5 different mortgage companies, right? If you're in the fitness industry, think about 5 different, let's just say you're a personal trainer, you have a, maybe a gym or a personal trainer team or something like that. Think about 5 other people who may sell supplements, right? Maybe you're a consultant and you're a sales consultant, right? But we all know that sales comes, with sales, you kind of also have to learn how to do some marketing aspect behind it, right? So if you're in sales, think about 5 other people who are in marketing, right? So I want you to think about an industry that is complementary of yours, that, you guys have a similar market, you have a similar people that you're trying to, market to, that you're trying to get the attention of, but you're not necessarily competing, right? So you're not going to cross paths in the business that you have, right? Reach out to 5 different businesses in the industry and see how you can help each other out, right? And helping each other is not a one-way thing. It's not, hey, can you send me some referrals? And I'm never going to send you referrals in the back end, right? Helping each other out, maybe it's just being accountable, to each other. Maybe helping each other out is saying, hey, I go to this event Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Do you want to come with me? Right? Find 5 other people, 5 other businesses, and reach out to them. And instead of asking how can you give me business, say, hey man, how can I help you grow your business? Right? Because if you lead with value, if you lead with, man, I want to help you out, I guarantee people are going to want to help you out. Right? There's a story that says, this man blew a tire, his car went out on the side of the road. He stuck his thumb out, and everybody just kept driving by. Nobody wanted to stop him. Well, guess what? That same man, he's like, all right, I'm tired of this. Let me just try to push my car. All right, I started pushing my car, and all of a sudden, 3, 4, 5 other people, they wanted to hop out of their car. They stopped and started pushing him as well. Why? Is because people want to help people who are helping themselves first. People don't want to help others who are looking for a handout. They're looking for people who can help, who want to take that initiative to help themselves first, and then they're willing to help them out, right? Wow. So if you lead with that value and say, hey man, what can I do to help your business grow? What can I do so we can connect and we can help each other's business grow, right? If we start to connect with people, and one term I like to say is, hey, let's buy the block back, right? Because a lot of people, a lot of people, these big businesses, they buy out these little businesses, and we don't have control of our own neighborhood anymore, right? So it's something that I call group economics, right? Let's start to be a group and help each other out and buy our own block back, instead of having these wealthy investors kick us out of our own neighborhood because we can no longer afford to live there. Let's keep the money in our neighborhood, and we all eat together, right? So look for those 5 other people that can really help. You guys can help each other's business grow, instead of you just asking, man, how can you help my business grow? Let's work together, right? As a community, as a city, as a nation right now, we're very separated. The only way we can get forward is if we can work together. We have to come together as a community. So instead of trying to compete with others right now, I want to challenge you as a League of Hustlers to reach out to 5 other people you can collaborate with and grow each other's business and not just your own. Right?
That's good, man. Yeah, man. You started preaching there for a second. You got a second calling, man. That's so true, though. That's so true. We're talking about buying back the block. We're talking about group economics. This is critical, man. We have to do another episode where it's like an hour long. I know you're short on time. I'm short on time. CD had to drop off. He had an emergency. But yeah, man, we definitely have to have you back when you have more time, when we have more time and everything. Because
for sure.
Just in this short amount of time, there's been so many jewels, so many gems. And we appreciate you following through on the League of Hustlers, man, where we share knowledge and build wealth. Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. I look forward to future collaborating, again, complimenting each other and helping each other grow. And anything I could do to add value to you guys, definitely let me know. You guys, your listeners, your followers, feel free to reach out to me. Again,
where can they find you?
I'm primarily on Instagram. I am on Facebook and LinkedIn. It's all Rick Medalle. So RICK MEDALLE. So basically, you just search my name, I'll probably pop up in one of those places. I'm really the only Rick Medalle I know of. I can't find anyone else on any of these social platforms either. So not hard to find.
Gotcha. Well, League of Hustlers, you heard it from the man himself, Rick Medalle, right? So make sure you follow him. Make sure you reach out. Make sure you hit us up too. questions@leagueofhustlers.com. If you have any questions, if we can help in any way, 100%. Make sure you reach out. All right. This has been another episode of the League of Hustlers, featuring none other than Rick Medalle. And
appreciate you.
If you haven't seen any of this, make sure you go back and watch the full thing 10 times. 10 times. I know I am going to, because there was some really valuable stuff dropped. Again, Rick, we appreciate you, man. We appreciate you. So this is it, man. Thank you for having me on. Yeah, man. And League of Hustlers, you have one more thing to do. Go get it.